And what is up, everybody? Today, just finished watching the Ant-Man trailer, and I must say it leaves a lot to be desired. I'm not saying that it's gonna be a bad movie, but from the trailer, you can't really tell if it's gonna be a good movie or not. There wasn't really a lot of action, a lot of just a bunch of different shots, like just cut scenes over and over again. Two punchlines from this guy, just because he's a comedic actor. Um, it doesn't make much sense. I mean, I understand, dude is very funny, but do keep in mind Paul Rudd. Not I don't know if he can ever actually be taken seriously. Then, okay, just looking at the cast of it, I haven't read the plot. Just looking at the cast, Yellow Jacket is a completely different character. Uh, Now, Michael Douglas is Hank Pym. Good on him. Okay, um, I wouldn't want any. You really wouldn't want anybody else to be Ant Man. But keep in mind, you this movie, kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a bit of a sleeper due to the fact that not too many people know about Ant Man. Not to mention the fact that I don't think Ant Man has had his own comic since Ant Man and Wasp joined the Avengers. From Avengers issue one, Ant Man, Hank Pym, the Wasp have never had their own solo comics. Uh, there's no Janet Van Dyne. There's a Hope Van Dyne for whatever reason I don't know. Um, Paul Rudd is playing the other Ant Man, Scott Lang. Scott Lang is was basically a thief who stumbles across Hank Pym's Ant Man suit and uses it to steal stuff. But when his daughter was in trouble, he saves his daughter's life, and Hank Pym basically tells him, "It's like, no, you're Ant Man now." Um, it more or less went down the way it did in Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes in season two, when Hank Pym hired Iron Fist and Luke Cage. It was a very, very funny episode. He hires Iron Fist and Luke Cage to track down and find who stole his suit, and basically you wind up with a brand new Ant Man, and very, very, very good story. And to have Paul Rudd as this guy, he was no Hank Pym. Okay, wasn't could not have him as Hank Pym. Okay, fine. They could have just done it with Paul Rudd was already a star. Okay, you could have done to him like did with Ant Man, especially the Scott Lang Ant Man, like you did with Thor, or like you did with a Captain America. Now, granted, Chris Evans was in a lot of stuff, but he wasn't a star. Now he's a star, thanks to Captain America. Um, because even what's his name, Chris Pratt as Star Lord, he was all over the place. He was basically like a A-list character actor. Now after the Lego Movie and Guardians of the Galaxy, he's a star now. So you could have grabbed somebody else for this. It did not have to be funny. If you read any of the old Ant-Man stories, the first ever Scott Lang story I ever read for Ant-Man, he's basically stuck trying to defuse a bomb, I think, that was set to kill his daughter, and his daughter's none the wiser. And it's heart wrenching, the stuff that this man has had to go through, and to have Yellow Jacket. Yellow Jacket is supposed to be basically the split personality. Uh, basically, Hank Pym starts suffering from schizophrenia and becomes the Yellow Jacket. The Yellow Jacket is a split personality who he says he had killed Hank Pym when actually he was Hank Pym. And here you got this guy Corey Stoll. Don't know, never seen this guy before. Uh, he's going to be Yellow Jacket. So it doesn't make any sense. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Basically, what it is from what this looks like is that Hank Pym basically made both suits. One was stolen, and the other one's being given away, or he gave one away, and the other one is and turns out that wasn't the right guy to do it to. So you're gonna have Ant-Man versus Yellow Jacket. Okay, but Yellow Jacket's not a villain. Yellow Jacket's not supposed to be a villain. See, this is exactly why Marvel should not have made Ant-Man. They shouldn't have made an Ant-Man movie. The way, and especially how I felt about it, and a lot of other people felt about it, was when they said that they were making different Avengers movies, to introduce everybody, and then they were going to make the event after Captain America was going to be the Avengers movie. There were so many people upset, like, no, but what happened to Ant-Man? What happened to Ant-Man and Wasp? You got to have Avengers with Ant-Man and Wasp. It's like, no, you don't. If anything, it would have been better if they introduced them in the first Avengers movie. Have them both working for S.H.I.E.L.D., which in a couple of storylines, that's what what had happened. As a matter of fact, in the Ultimate storyline, that's what happened. And seeing as how you're using Ultimate Nick Fury anyway, you might as well just throw that little bit in, Ant-Man / Giant Man and the Wasp. It would have been perfect. They decided not to go that route. Okay, now you're going to use Ant-Man. Oh, by the way, it's not Hank Pym. It's going to be Scott Lang. Okay, fine. Now you're throwing Yellow Jacket in there. Yellow Jacket is supposed to be... Yellow Jacket was nobody else. Was never anybody else. Not to mention no Janet Van Dyne, so no Wasp. I don't know who the hell Hope Van Dyne is. And to making Hank Pym old... He was never old. He was never old. He was always young. He was always a younger doctor. Janet Van Dyne was basically a teenager. She was like 17 when she first met him, and she was crushing on him hard. And then when her father, who was a friend of his, went missing, she needed his help, and that's how Ant-Man and Wasp got started. And doesn't look like there's any sign of Wasp, especially how now in the comics, with Janet Van Dyne dead, Hank Pym became the new Wasp. The gun that he used is Yellow Jacket. He uses that, and he shrinks, and he flies. Now he's the new Wasp in honor of his wife, dead wife. But this is not the direction they're going. I'm not saying this is going to be a bad movie, because unfortunately you can't really tell from this trailer. I mean, when it's kind of like when the first Captain America trailer was released, the teaser was released on Super Bowl Sunday. People were like, it doesn't really tell me anything, but at least I'm happy to finally see some footage from the movie. And then, then the first real trailer came out. They're like, okay, this, maybe I'll go see this movie. Then the trailer they released just before the movie's like, oh my God, I gotta see this movie. And then when it went to Captain America Winter Soldier, they just went straight for the, oh my God, I gotta see this movie. And they're not doing that with this. There's nothing about this trailer that actually has me excited for this movie. It's sad, because you're going to go through the trouble of introducing a very important, very strong character that, one, doesn't have his own book, is not strong enough to have his own book, and two, nobody really cares that much for anyway. And they're basically going the directions like they did with Guardians of the Galaxy, and just basically using different things for the sake of using them. And I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm not saying it's going to be a bad movie, but they already started off on the wrong foot. However, Marvel Studios does pretty well when it comes to this kind of thing, and we'll see what happens. I'm done talking. You guys have a good night.